Good morning, it's time for SI Car News. It's a beautiful Saturday and we're glad you're here. We got more car shows, car events, things coming up. We're going to talk about all those, and we've got some guests coming up too, so stick around. Don't worry about the time. Once you get out there and enjoy those shows, and when you do, take your kids with you because they are our future. Thank you all.
Welcome back to the archives. On this episode, I'm at WGGH radio station with Chris Hahn, showcasing this 1949 radio station, which was #1 broadcasting in Southern Illinois with 5,000 watt broadcast. So sit back, hit that subscribe button, and let's get a tour. The station started on September 24th, 1949 by George Dodd and Harley Grisham. Originally, the station featured a big band format and operated on 500 watts. In 1949, it was the largest market radio south of Springfield, Illinois. In 1978, the station became an inspirational Christian station, broadcasting with 5,000 watts, creating a strong signal for listeners. In 1992, it was sold to Johnny and Elaine Gomez. After 15 years, it was then sold in 2007 to Jimmy Fishback, who currently owns it today. WGGH is one of the oldest radio stations that is still in operations today. So I know that was a lot to take in. That was a lot of information, and I want to make sure that you take it all in. So let's take about a 5-second break. Think about it. Let's get back to the video.
WGGH right now, as of 2022, is just celebrated their 73rd anniversary as a radio station. They are AM 1150 and 98.5 FM. The reason for the FM is because the government decided that AM stations needed more of an outreach for their broadcast signals to go along with AM. So they offered some low-powered, limited FM stations, translators, so to speak. And so ours is on 98.5 FM, and it broadcasts AM and FM. It's the same program. But yeah, we've been doing that, and it's worked out very well. WGGH has what we call one of the largest footprints and has been one of the largest output stations in Southern Illinois. In fact, for the 50s, 60s, and 70s, yes, it was a tremendous, and still is a tremendous station to reach as far as AM signal. Reaches over 5 states, which is kind of outstanding, really. It actually is. So pretty proud of the station and the programming that's here on WGGH. I was going to say the early days, or back when it was first opened up, this would have been the reception area for the station, and right now it's the general manager's office, Jim's office, and it's where all the action happens. But and then
we'll keep going. We'll go
there was basically offices over here, and when Jim Fishback bought the station, him and his crew came in and put in the studios, and you can see we have studio A and B, and then also a mixing studio that was put in there. But Jim and his crew did a lot of work. What you see there, of course, are some of the main boards, mixing boards, and where all the action happens. This is where the producer works, in here.
So most of the radio kind of comes from here.
Yeah, it comes through. It comes through those satellites there. Now everything's usually satellite. But yeah, it comes through there, and then it comes through our boards over here. And again, this is where the producers usually work. Our producer for most of our shows is Brian Cheney, and he takes all the things through here. Calls come through here. There's a call board over there where if someone calls in, they can be put on the radio.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is the main studio. Then the studio that I work out of is kind of like the auxiliary studio. There can be certain things done in there too, but not as much as the active studio in there.
So you do your radio show on specific days in here?
In here on Saturdays.
So what do you do on your radio show?
Starting at 9 a.m. it's SI Car News. I do it right here, and I'm privileged to be able to do that. I'm now been doing the show here since about 2009, so they put up with me for that long, which I appreciate. But yeah, we have in-house guests, and we have phone guests, and it's just the place where it happens right here for me, for sicarnews.com.
Now, I will say I came on this radio show once.
Yes.
And he was great. He was excellent. He knew all his questions, and he was very, very good at what he does. So.
I'll make sure I get you that $1 later on after the taping.
So when it comes to these boards, what exactly, like if I didn't know anything, which I don't, what does all these do? Like you got your mics, it kind of distorts your voice. Do you have certain things you got to do?
Yeah, and each one of them is set up differently, believe it or not, because I think that they do have certain ways they do it, as they've labeled them up there, auxiliary and other things along those lines. Those two buttons off to the left there are your mic buttons, and yeah, one of them is all mics. Oops, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No, you can do all you want.
It's all mics, and you hit those little red buttons, and you're hot, as they say. Your mics are hot. But you consider them always being on or hot all the time. That saves embarrassment and troubles and bad videos that you see make their way on the internet.
So you get some of these crazy folks, you gotta cut them off sometimes.
Well, it's happened before.
Really?
Yeah, there has been a... Yeah.
Alright, so we've made our way into one of the closet rooms that they kind of have. It's set up just like it would be in the...
Probably the 40s and 50s, 60s. So you have your basic reel-to-reel, which is very interesting. I've heard Jim Fishback and some other people that have been in radio a long time talk about how you have to splice to put commercials together. Then you also have, over there, you have what's called the cart machines. And those carts look like the old 8-track tape players. However, they're not. They're only a certain amount of time on those, and they're used basically for commercials and for music at the time. But of course, we've gone to almost all electronics and things along those lines. But yeah, when you hear people talk about carts and cart machines, that's what they were talking about. But yeah, this is kind of set up as it was back in the as we say, the early days of radio. This was the actual console radio. It became the focus of attention in families' rooms during the evening. You probably heard about fireside chats with the president, things along those lines. People always got around the radio, listened to the Lone Ranger or Little Orphan Annie, things along those lines. Well, also they had promotional radios, and what you see there with the white one and the black one, which is promotional radios for AM 1150, and they would basically broadcast just AM 1150, which was okay. It's a promotional radio, but again, you see the big size of these radios. Those were the thing at the time. Now, of course, we carry our radios around in our pockets and have them in our cars, but they're still an integral part of society today. In fact, recent surveys have shown that radio is either number 1 or 2 as far as communication in the world today. So this is the first room you see here. Is basically kind of like a little mini historical reference to the radio of bygone days, and it was done basically by the owner, Mr. Fishback, and his family. And it's a good tribute. It has some of the pictures of the original station lit up with the big WGGH on the roof. Just Just a great little station. One time was, and still is, as we're considered the cornerstone of radio in Southern Illinois. It's a boomer, as they say, with 5,000 watts, reaching over 5 states in this area. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, and it's a beautiful area.
I know that you were telling me some facts about this radio station and possibly one about the Beatles. So what is the hearsay maybe on that?
Okay, and that's a good question. One of the ladies that works here, and her dad was affiliated with WGGH in a big way, Marcia, her claim to, I won't say her claim to fame, but one of the things that she did besides being an outstanding young lady is she was one of the first people to actually play one of the Beatles songs on the air, over the air in Southern Illinois. And I know there's a lot of people make claims, you hear so many, but I keep Marcia and her claim pretty close to heart because she's a very good and honest person on that.
We'll kind of talk about these antenna things. I'm always curious about these things. You go down the highway, and they're super tall, they always are gated. So what do they do and how do they work? And
well, they for AM works off of amplified modulation, and it's kind of complicated, but it's not. But yeah, you don't ever want to see inside or get near the gated towers because yeah, in fact it has on there, do not touch tower, because you would not only would it kill you, but it would hurt while you're dying, so to speak, not to be light of the fact. But yeah, it's the twin towers here for AM 1150. One of the reasons we reach 5,000 watts.
we'll turn around here and we got a couple of satellite dishes.
Yes, they'll bring in our other things that will come in, sometimes like RFD Today. Other programs come in through satellite and are downloaded onto the receivers to be broadcast during the day or maybe during the weekend. Sometimes they're recorded and broadcast at different times of the day.
That's the end of this episode. Thank you to Chris for the awesome tour. Be sure to tune in to WGGH if you're local. Hit that like button, leave me a comment of your favorite part of the radio station. Also, smash that subscribe button because more videos are on the way.